How you doing, Jennifer? Pretty good. Ooh, okay. Playing hardball there. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to hammer the gavel. So we'll start the Thursday, April 11th, North Kansas City Equity and Inclusion Committee meeting here at about 7:02. I think Bess will be here, but we'll go ahead and do a roll. Jennifer Boyd.
Present.
Daniel Trotter is here. Martin Newton.
Here.
And Marcia Wade Kuntz.
Here.
And Ryan Brooks and Bess Bailey are absent. Do we have any guests or in the audience other than our trustee council member Saper? And Mike Nichols, welcome back. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Mallory is stepping back from this. She's got some other things going on. As such, gives me the opportunity to come back. I do have the authority to appoint a designee, but I'm not going to do that. Megan said she'd like to continue helping out with y'all, so that's kind of
Thank you
nice
both.
to get back into this. So yeah.
Terrific. Well, it's good to see you, and look forward to seeing more of you at the meetings. So, does anyone move to approve the minutes from last month's session?
I move to approve.
Anyone second?
I moved a second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved from the March session. Do we have any comments from the public this evening? Item 6 on the list is the discussion of the municipal code and language updates. Do we know who added that to the agenda?
Miss Bailey added that.
She did, okay.
Asked that I put that on there.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
She might, okay.
I think she might be pulling in, maybe. But we can come back to that one. She may also win. We'll review the tourism grant application, item 7 first. And I believe everyone has a copy of that. And this is something we discussed last month. I think the EIC being involved in, I think potentially vetting some of the events or just vetting like the businesses that were involved to some degree and having a little more insight into that. I think that gives us a lot of, like a good amount of oversight just to kind of apply our expertise. But it would probably take a minute to review this if we already haven't. So I'd say let's just take a moment to kind of look at some of the headers and read a few of the bullets.
Does anybody know how old this program is? Is it a brand new program or is it? How old is this program?
Trying to think, I'm gonna, yeah, look your way. I know it's at least 2 years old, but I would guess 3?
It's so tricky because I know during COVID, I didn't know kind of if we diverted funds toward COVID relief sort of for businesses and that was used through that, or if that was ARPA funding. It's hard to remember, or if this was a development of our master planning session or main planning session. I thought so too, but I want to say this gets revamped, but I don't know what iteration this may be.
Are you saying that's when it was introduced, or is that when this iteration was updated last? I think that's when it was introduced. Oh, okay.
It seems like it goes back further.
Well, I asked him. I just texted him to go, I think 3 years.
Oh.
But I was
That's
thinking
what-
like, I
okay.
feel like Adam Roberts brought it forward.
It's centered around
Yay.
3 years.
Yeah, I feel like Adam Roberts maybe brought it forward.
No, it predated him.
That's what-
Okay,
that's what
but
I'm
like,
thinking.
but this iteration,
It's been there
that's
for,
the confusion. This iteration is 3 years old, but it's been in existence.
So it's been 3 budget cycles. Correct. We've had it in the budget for 3 years. Hmm?
So it's still 3 years, and this is just, it's been essentially the same
Yes.
as far as verbiage and layout and all of
Yes, I was hoping to exhaust the funds. I have yet to.
Does anyone have an example of an event that was, went through this process, or has it? Pint Path? Okay.
Yeah. Previous to Adam being on council, Shockfest, his horror movie festival, so that is one as well. That's actually the funding genesis that we use for the high school's ethnic festival, was we pulled it out of that fund. Because we figured that was a large event that brought people from all over. It really does help foster tourism and embracing of events that bring lots of people together.
Also, the fall festival, which was introduced last year, kind of like an Oktoberfest, but it was like during around the time that the Tens, Swift, I don't know if you guys saw that, or Tens last year. It's around like, yeah, that was one that was new.
That's an annual thing?
Well, they're trying to make it annual. We suggested, looking at approving the funding for like the first 3 years of it to give it a solid grounding of like, to get momentum behind it versus saying like, approving to do it in one shot, but to give them an idea of how it's gonna go, give them three solid years. I think that was an invitation.
It was. Events, as you know, especially outdoor events, boy, man, they are hit or miss. You get a rain event and it can just wonk your numbers out. So 3 years is a typical kind of timeline that we try to suggest that you give an event a chance to build kind of build itself up and become self-sustaining to a point where you kind of have a bit of a flywheel. You get a couple of good years in there, maybe you get a rain year. But any event that you guys have gone to, I'm sure you've gone to events where all of a sudden it's just really, really hot. A windstorm out of nowhere. We are in Missouri, where all of a sudden it has a bad year. Their vendors don't make as much money as they had hoped. They were depending on maybe a revenue split with their vendors. That didn't happen. Yeah, there is like a force multiplier in there, meaning that it's $500 per agency. But if you partnered to make an even larger event, you can get up to $1,500. So the goal was to try to entice businesses and organizations to work together to make an even larger event.
So is that kind of like the Fall Festival had several, let's say, breweries or bars, I guess,
They're
represented?
kind of like a standalone event. The Fall Fun, I keep calling it Fall Fun Fest. It's not fall. It is. I know. I'm like showing my colors here, as it were. That was kind of like a standalone event, but really a lot of it is. We've all been to festivals. It is a lot more fun when there are just like a great amount of vendors, way different foods. You kind of have this critical mass that you need to get to for a festival to be successful. So again, when we were structuring that program, we were trying to make it so, hey, make this big, go wild, shoot for the moon, make it huge, invite a bunch of other people, because as you guys know, you kind of like to hop around, you kind of like to go around, so to try to encourage that financially.
I guess on that note, when I think about that, because we reached a level of like 5K for this weekend. For I think we hit like 5,000 because of what they were walking
The
through,
bike
right?
path?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we actually had to up it because of the insurance
Right.
requirements.
But
yes.
that's, again, based out of here and then kind of goes from there. The idea is to stick around 500 to 1,500, but then it kind of builds the more people that you combine, like you said. I don't know, just some initial thoughts that you guys may have kind of on where the monies are going, like what, yeah, I think just overall, I think that's starting to come up a little bit, like a little buzzing of people kind of going, oh, what, where'd the money go, or what event's it for, and also thinking about events that you want to support or you'd like to see the city support. Just things like that, just to kind of have a pulse on it. I'm not really looking unless you feel like there's something we want to change. But yeah, I think just for your guys' awareness, just to know that it exists. And when you're talking with different community members that are thinking about events or thinking about things they want to do to draw people to the community. Just something I wanted you guys to have some visibility on. My chair is making noises over here.
Yeah, I would suggest we just review the document and also the application. I could see the application being a good place for us to put some sort of like small EIC checklist, if you will, that essentially allows us to, I don't know, be a part of that application process without like, it being an additional roadblock, because it feels like they'll all everyone who applies would fill that out. So yeah, that would be something I think we could review before the next meeting and come back with suggestions.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other thoughts?
I was just going to say that if we're bringing people into the community and giving money for them to do that, businesses here to help bring people into the community, then we definitely do want to make sure that it is equitable and inclusive. So I think it's a good idea for us to at least have a little bit of a pulse on it, like you said.
I think, and if I heard correctly, we're really wanting to exhaust, if I'm hearing correctly, we're wanting to exhaust these funds, if at all possible, right?
I would love to hit that cap and have the joyous, chore of going back to the governing body and saying, we're out of money on this project.
we might need more.
Again, the goal is to make vibrant events that draw people here. Maybe they would not have explored our community but for this particular event. Maybe they live somewhere else. They go, wow, I didn't even know North Kansas City had all this. Maybe they consider us as a future home. I mean, kind of that's the hope, is to cast a really wide net and to get as many people possible to come, kind of find out who we are, what we are, and maybe consider becoming part of our community.
Do we tend to exhaust the resource, so I'll say, have we exhausted the resources in the past? No.
So the
Okay.
challenge
So
gauntlet
this is
is
also
out
more
to
for
y'all.
promotional, this is also just to, get it even out there in the community. And
Well, that
and
could
make
be
people
in
know.
another program. It's kind of a parallel to Tangier. It's like a sister or a brother to it. Would be the block parties. We're coming up on the season for
Cookouts.
perhaps neighbors to be able to get together and meet each other. So another one. It doesn't quite have the tourism grant, but it does have the community building component to it, and that is, maybe encouraging, maybe you guys, as you go back out into your neighborhoods, help push that particular. We only have a few of those. We did put in fact, we upped the budget, the city council upped the budget to $400 reimbursement. Now they don't buy everything. I think you guys can imagine the things that are probably on the, Santa naughty list, as it were. But it does pay for food. It pays for entertainment. There are several things that it would pay for. We like to know them because if our police and fire have the, ability, if they're not running calls, they'll drop in just to say hi. It is always nice for those agencies to be able to get out and meet the neighbors as well maybe in a not call related realm. So that's another thing that maybe you guys could help us push out there, is that those are available. And again, we would love to be able to exhaust that budget line item as well. Especially we're kind of post-pandemic. I think that people are starting to want to kind of reconnect with their neighborhoods again. And that's why the city council supported that line item, was to help foster that neighboriness, that stickiness, that's what binds people together. That way you're not just roommates, you're connected to one another.
All right, we'll go backwards real quick to item 6, the discussion of the municipal. Yeah, thank you, Kim. So yeah, we had gotten together to review the municipal code language, and I think we were just wanting to check in on how that process is going, or if we've implemented any of the feedback that we provided. And Mike may not be completely up to speed.
This is a new one to me, so I'm learning on this one. I mean, as far as I understand, it was a committee, I think, was meeting at the library to review the code. I will tell you that's what I know.
Great
But
recap. So it was right before Ashley transitioned off, so it must have been early November or late October, which feels like a world away. I have no idea. I don't remember what happened. And we looked briefly through the beginning of some document Mallory gave us. Don't remember which one, but we were kind of looking through it to start determining what language, or what is the thought process people should go through when determining if language in city code needed to be updated. And we put that down somewhere, on a computer, a piece of paper. I will probably be able to find in my home. But I don't know if it went anywhere from there because, of course, like holidays and winter is a dark time, and now it's spring again.
I feel like Ashley may have sent something to Mallory. I thought that was in the works because it was the three of us and Ashley, right? Yeah. It was really just about recognizing inclusive language, just kind of bringing it more up to date for anyone coming in. I think even applying to the city or job descriptions. I think it's just across the board. There was a lot to try to tackle. We just kind of sat with some of the initial grabs. And Bess had a good eye, you know, because she works you're in it. So there were, I think, some immediate grabs you had. But I think it's just, it's one of those where I think it's probably pretty searchable, where you can kind of set a rule that if we see just she, he, we have like they included. Those are like the immediate grabs. But then there were a few things that seemed a little antiquated in the way they were framed.
Such,
Maybe removing a religious component that may not tie to everyone, that may not feel, inclusive to everyone.
I believe the section on the chief of police talks about that he may appoint his
Right.
things like that. This will be exciting. During part of my 6 weeks last year on my back, I went through all our code. So I'd love to compare I've got 20 pages of notes. I've got the folder that Mallory put everything into. I'll search for that document, and then also an email from Ashley, I believe you said, that
think
where it left
so.
off.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, quite a bit of an exchange, but I think there's notes sort of resting somewhere. But that was kind of the general idea, is sort of.
Yeah, and I don't think it's notes on this page it says it 18 times, but it's more of like we tried to codify the thinking you would want to go through to say does this meet the mark we're trying to hit with an inclusive city, yes or no, and kind of why. We kind of had a gender or binary system, like layout versus like a religious factor versus, I think we might have had a couple others, but that's really what we wanted to do. And then as far as the next steps go with it, I'm not actually sure where we intended to go with it, but I know we wanted to, I feel like there was a hope to bring these ideas that we were thinking through to city council, but I don't actually know how far we were thinking through that and where we wanted to end up with it.
That meeting took place in early November because Ashley's last meeting was like November 11th.
Good brains on that one. I'm like, it may have been 5 years ago. It may have been yesterday. I'm not sure. No. Yeah, I think at minimum it was definitely, religion and gender inclusivity. And, as far as tackling that, and then, kind of starting there as far as the search, find, and replace. We just want to make sure we're open to any applicants coming to the city, and also, obviously code or anything that's listed. Certainly, we want to keep that open.
That's all I really had for that. I just wanted to make sure it was front of mind, so we didn't lose that one.
I will find that and send it out. Thanks.
All right, next is an update. If Amy has one for us, any kind of initiatives, any thoughts?
Let's see here. So I always realize, I can't just look at the last, but going through the end of March, I don't really see anything. We've gotten our EV utility trucks. I don't know if you know that that's a big part of One of the initiatives we wanted for the city is to start to adopt more EV, trucks and vehicles across like Public Works as well as police and fire. I believe police have a truck. They've got SUVs on order for hybrid, I think. And I don't know if they have a fully electric, but the fire station has a fully electric truck. And then Public Works has one on order, three on order. Only costs like $5 a piece. No, that's not. I made that up. Yeah,
multiplied by.
exactly. Obviously, there's some addition and times table is missing. Yes, that piece that's gone through. We finally got a public art installation approved that's going in a location that I'm not going to remember right offhand. I can't remember the building, but the Crummett Foundation obviously helped out with that, and we'll have another mural that'll go into place. That was approved last meeting. That is nice. More art around the city. Of course, Pint Path, there was a discussion with that particular item. We decided as a city to help out because the way the rules are with insurance and things like that, it became sort of out of reach for them to receive city funding, but also to afford then this insurance package that was necessary for this small day event that's like biking and beer and treasure hunting and all those things around the city. And so that was kind of extended at a higher amount than beyond the 500 or 1,500 application. So that was one that, we felt like is a good event that's put on each year. I think they're going to remove they were doing twice a year with COVID and everything that happened. Things got bumped around there, but I think they're hitting more of a normal stride now. We, of course, still want to keep a pulse. I say this, I think, every meeting on public transportation, and kind of what ideas we have circulating around that. I think we've mentioned and talked about the potential of the hospital maybe pitching in for not necessarily a vehicle, but just maybe looking into what we can do to kind of bridge some of those gaps, getting people to the hospital, and maybe not just inventing a vehicle as much as just maybe pitching into the overall cost. But I also think some of those things are being evaluated from like multi-citywide to see kind of why the costs are escalating so much on some of us that only have like four stops, within this 5-mile radius. I think that's it. Tony, anything crossing your mind? Yeah, that's about it. Oh, yeah,
1455 Iron, Summit Heating and Cooling is the
Summit
art.
Heating and Cooling,
is
yeah.
the art built. That's where the art's going.
Okay,
And,
so right down from the Iron District, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's visible from the exterior, I take it?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the exterior. It's painted on that and it'll be visible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think visible then as you're driving down Iron, or that you could see from the highway. I want to say down Iron. Like the parking lot side of the building, kind of like you get like a destination photograph kind of thing.
Yeah, if you heard all. Building's on the east side of Iron. The mural's on the north side of the building. But is it the corner? I gotta think. But you can see it as you. I don't know about from the Iron District.
I don't know about from the Iron District, like sitting there, but I think if you went down the road, definitely when people park and things like that, or if you're walking, and you're making even your way around to Velo on Swift, from that way, you would pass it. And I think, I know as a cyclist, we tend to try to do like mural chasing, like, oh, let's go check out this new mural. We take a picture in front of it. We ride to another location in the city. And I think that's a fun way to get people to even come from other areas on like a destination bike ride to just be like, get your picture in front of this particular mural, things like that. So yeah. I know Pint Path tries to incorporate some of those things in like their scavenger hunt sort of thing. When they hop around, it's like you have to identify buildings based on certain key features and stuff like that. And that could be stuff that they incorporate later on. But yeah, that was exciting news. All from me.
Do we have, so I know there's an election. Have how many new council members do we have? I guess
New would be one. Whoa, my mic really took off there. New would be one.
cool. And have they been sworn in yet?
No,
No.
that would be next meeting.
Oh, next meeting. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, Lindsay McGrum will be replacing Councilmember Schneider as long as all results are confirmed.
I just want to add on to the discussion about the transportation needs. Last, I guess it was Tuesday, I was in Epic Vision. I was in Epic Vision to pick up my glasses, and there was a lady there that was in a wheelchair who was very visibly upset because she was going to have to wait almost 30 minutes for a bus. And that was just the regular bus route, apparently. And she was really insistent that it's a special bus. It's a smaller bus. They have to be able to lift my wheelchair and accommodate my wheelchair use. And I don't know that it ever got resolved. I didn't have a vehicle big enough to accommodate her, or I would have just taken her home. But I think the need may be a little bit more extensive than just going hospital to just a couple places, like, I mean, dentists, vision, all kinds of things. So I don't know where we can help keep those things in mind as well, you know.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is recognizing, is the KCATA like meeting our needs as a city? You know, is it actually working out for the budget we have to put toward it? Is it actually serving our community members in a way that is instrumental to them getting around, getting to where they need to go, especially in a timely manner? If you're waiting 30 minutes, they generally say it's a 15-minute wait, I think, is tops.
Well, I did end up having to go back and take, long story short, my glasses weren't right. But, so I ended up having to go back there about an hour and a half later, and she was just getting picked up.
And that would have been, I'm guessing, like a flex bus? Generally, those are I mean, most all of them are accommodating of.
Yeah, the mini flex, or, I mean, it's possible it could have been, I think it's Clay County Senior Services also provides busing services. I mean, I'm not shifting it, but it's a possibility. But yeah, without knowing, was it a van, was it a bus, or a mini bus, or?
It looked kind of like a combination between a minibus and a van, and it was white. I do remember that. I didn't remember it was a little bit further down than where I parked, so I didn't see any of the actual lettering on the vehicle or anything, but it was more of like a white kind of a. But at the very least, if we had access to phone numbers or something that we knew who they could call, because I don't know how she got there, but it seems counterproductive for her to have to take a city bus there and have to wait. I mean, obviously, if that's the route she takes, that's the route she takes, but there should be other options so that somebody doesn't have to wait for 2 hours in the middle of the day without any kind of recourse. I mean, the staff at Epic Vision was doing the best they could to help get her picked up and taken home, but, you know, if we had even resources, a phone number we could call for that kind of thing, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is there, but there has to be something.
Question, do we know the biggest usage of that service is it the retirement home? I mean, the most people that want that service or request that service, or is it all around? Is it?
I mean, the gardens have quite a bit of pickup for appointments, for sure. That's a very, very strong lean of there's even the gardens that they're like, hey, I moved here for this retirement community so that I can get to all these places, and it's included, that I've budgeted for that in my lifetime. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm on a retirement now, I've budgeted my life out, and this fits. And when we, you know, and that was the draw to our community. They love going to Harrah's, you know, they'll go over there to eat, you know, things like that, and that started to be interrupted. So I think there is quite a bit from the gardens, like concentration there, but I wouldn't say they're the only ones. There's obviously, I'll ride my bike and I can see people waiting for the bus in front of Wendy's or, but over by the hospital when people get done with their appointments, I do see that a lot, like on Vernon. There's one that picks up like right next to the hospital, like in the actual area on Clay Edwards. So yeah, I mean, when they did the study, I mean, their numbers were, it's really hard because you can't say like, well, I guess 5 people don't need a ride. It's like if they have one person using it, that's one person. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to say, all right, let's eliminate this, which could be that person's livelihood, getting back and forth to work. So.
Right, or to medical appointments or whatever,
Yeah.
because, I mean, she was obviously the person that I saw was obviously not in a position to be able to drive herself,
Uh-huh.
and I assume that she didn't really have anybody to take her to appointments either, otherwise she wouldn't have waited there for 2 hours for someone to pick her up.
Right.
I don't know where she was going. I know that she was finished with her appointment at Epic Vision. I started to ask, but she was distraught, and I didn't want to say, let me get in your business and not be able to offer you a solution. If I had been able to fit her in my vehicle, I would have done exactly that.
Sounds like it was another service other than the service that the city provides.
I don't know. I think it was originally they were waiting for the service that the city provides, and it was going to be too long. I don't know. I was only mildly eavesdropping. So,
Well, thanks for keeping that top of mind. I mean, outside of this, those are the kind of like anecdotes that we need, just things that you see in real life, in real time. I think some of the questions that would come to my mind is like, does it matter if the person lives in North Kansas City? Like, is that our, primary concern, or are we just hoping that North Kansas Cityans can get to places in North Kansas City? Or are we hoping that people can get through North Kansas City,
I think if they're using our businesses, that needs to be a priority too. If we need to be able to help them if they're coming in and doing business with our businesses, then they need to be able to have a way to get to and from us, as if we can help them. I'm assuming that they're not going to come from, halfway across the county to North Kansas City if they're not close by, because there's vision places all over the place. So.
Okay, anything else? Move on to number 9, or? All right, so number 9, gearing up for Pride 2024. That's only a couple months away, folks. So yeah, thanks for putting that on the agenda, whoever added that. I think we have a good float idea. Yeah, the float's awesome. I think we can reuse that really
We got 16th place.
16th.
Yeah, out of 200.
Hey,
So.
that's terrific. No, that's top 10 percentile there.
So I wanted to see, so the actual, the rainbow part of it was constructed by our municipal services folks. So I wanted to see, do you guys want to do like a certificate of appreciation or something for them? Okay, I'll bring that so that everyone can like sign it next time.
Yeah, is that something like our budget can go towards? I don't know if you're getting a card or like balloons or candy.
Probably like
just-
like a framed certificate or something.
Sure.
Could we find a 16th place trophy? Like, is that a thing we could do?
16th
Put it
out
up
of 200.
behind y'all.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time looking up really weird stuff for prom and spirit days recently, so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a
16th
shot.
place is awesome. I love that.
I noticed there's a PDF here in blue. Is that the schedule for the Pride? Is that information that we should?
Yeah, that was just something I grabbed off their website that had not only the event dates, but then the parade dates. Mallory everything's already registered. So the only thing we're going to need, and I will accidentally look this way, as maybe a driver from the transportation department for that day. Someone, we need a city employee to drive it.
I did laugh when Mallory was driving. It was amazing. Megan's
I-
like, no.
I was watching when she was trying to squeeze.
She was a
between
little
the-
terrified for good reason. It's a big truck,
Yeah.
and kids were running rampant. I was like, you're in the clear, I think. That one's not acting right, so he can fend for himself.
Getting,
Oh, my gosh.
Do we still have swag?
well, that's one of the things
Just
that,
in my
that I
walk.
put on here. Wanted to kind of, what kind of expenditure amount. I think the budget's at the remaining balance of your budget. Right now, it looks like $10,173.
Oh, we can get lots of swag.
Right, but figuring out what kind of items, something similar to last year, and I say that not knowing what.
We had some cool sunglasses last year. I mean, we burned through everything on Broadway, I think. And then we turned the corner and we're like all the human beings were, and they're like, we're like,
Right, I feel like the Pride Parade is about twice as long as the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And so how do you guys also feel about, do we want to give away candy this year?
candy
Wonder-
felt stressful, I'm not going to lie.
Wonder if
We were getting screamed at.
This would take a little more labor from us, but like, could we put together just like a little cellophane bag, and maybe ask some of the local businesses if they wanted to contribute like a coupon or something, or like, I mean, I don't know, just anything and everything that might promote some North Kansas City business, because I feel like that would be, I mean,
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I like that
like
idea.
a district biscuits, like buy one, get a drink for free. I don't know. I mean, we'd have to coordinate with them, but
From what I remember from last
is
year,
that illegal?
they walk quick. Like, we were, like, quicker, I feel like, than the Snake Saturday Parade.
Okay.
But, I mean,
But if we have wagons that we're pulling it along behind us,
true.
it might be a little bit easier.
I was going to say, I think the plan is from sort of here on out, too, that we, at the end of the parade, the truck will then be parked at Arts in the Park for just kind of like a display and for an awareness. And that could also be an opportunity where we interact with our community members and maybe, encourage them to visit a restaurant they haven't yet or things like that. I do like the idea of handing those out. I'm just curious I'm curious what businesses, we almost want to get together with the business council to see, attend one of those like coffee mornings and just kind of see what they could do if they want to throw it out there. as
Even
far
if-
as-
Even if they wanted to add a piece of swag to our bag, that represents their business, so that if we're giving it out, they know, oh, this place is in North Kansas City, let's go check it out.
Yeah. But what are you guys thinking as far as, did you guys want to do sunglasses? What are you thinking over here? She's over here smirking and smiling.
No, I like the idea, but my idea, it would take much more than a month to coordinate.
What do you got? It could happen next year.
It
What's running through your brains?
So,
I want to know.
yeah. Okay, so, those fundraisers that have, the fundraisers, there we go, that have like the, 10% discounts or, buy one, get one free, or you come in with a free appetizer or whatever. Yeah, maybe not a booklet, but like, let's say we're handing out necklaces, right? And it has just like a little North KC, like a little business pass, then, the businesses can scan that and based off of whatever deal they wanted to give, Or, for this month, or,
Yeah, just to kind of consolidate all the deals into like one little tchotchke thing.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Good idea.
We might need Sam to help us with a QR code that leads to all the businesses.
Deals.
Right, I know this is pretty possible, that the businesses would then be connected to this QR code, and they can all just decide to enter what they are comfortable sort of honoring for the month of June. Like, do you want to do a buy one, get one spaghetti special? Like, I don't know. They have their own favorite things at each restaurant, whatever that looks like.
Or even just a general 10% off or
Sure.
something, you know,
Yeah.
it could just be a one-way ticket for everything, you know, for whoever's going to participate.
Yeah.
Right? Just to make things easier, at least for our first iteration, if we decide to go forth on an
Yeah.
annual basis. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Something
like that.
Something like that.
I think that's good. Especially if it's like wearable and they can still use it. It doesn't feel like so throwaway. It's like
Yes.
they can hang on to it and just know
That's
it's,
the other thing I was going to bring up. So I know with the company I work for, we participated in the parade last year and the year before that. And one thing we definitely wanted to make sure of doing is whatever we were going to give away, we wanted it to be sustainable, something that actually, you know, that was going to be used, that did not generate a lot of trash. So I know last year we had fans, necklaces. There were maybe like 2 other items that we were just kind of handing out. I know we didn't hand out candy this go round. But I don't know, like something like that. And everyone seemed to be very happy with it. We ran out of all of our stuff at some point in time during the parade. But yeah.
I think what I would recommend based on last year, like we still have our necklace. It's still in the toy box. I don't know how, it's broken, but it's still there. But I think like if we did necklaces very similar to what we had last year, the all are welcome necklaces, glasses, and then like something else in between like a necklace and a glass, like the glasses, because those went really, really fast and people really, really wanted them. But also like the necklaces were really easy to give out, whereas I was constantly dropping the things of the sunglasses. So I think like ease of passing out also needs to be considered. I don't know what that thing is, but it's like something in between size-wise.
I can look at the swag websites and bring stuff next month.
Will we have enough time to order without having to rush it?
Yeah, it's usually like a 2-week turnaround. Does somebody want to work on contacting businesses to see who wants to be a part of that?
I almost feel like if we reached out directly to Richard Groves or whoever is the current president or whoever it may be, just to kind of throw out the initial proposal, because we'll be in front of at least 500,000 people, if not more. And that's great advertising for them and potential for them, for their businesses to be, I mean, because Richard Groves is tied to it's head of business council, so he's tied to every single business in North Kansas City for the most part. So, yeah, I think that could be a good start just to kind of pass the information along.
I've just contacted a business and we're in.
Okay.
1 for 1.
Nice. Bess is already on this, so I think Bess just took the lead. We'll do a little. Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, I wondered. I was about to be like, wait, do I know this business? Is it the Bailey business? Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Yeah. You have like a little discount code for the business. That's cool. Yeah.
I'd be
Okay.
happy to reach out to Richard and see if there's a meeting or something that we could get in front of, or at least just a message that he could spread for us. But yeah, I think it sells itself just in terms of the amount of people it would influence, and I think at the same time it is congruent with like the city's strategic plan and just our obvious goals of keeping North Kansas City equitable and a really inclusive place that people feel safe in. So
If
it'd be a good time to get the businesses on board with that, I hope.
if we are going to do something that we're handing out with like a QR code for that kind of thing, we need to make sure that whatever we have on our swag, it's apparent that they need to hang on to that, and the QR code is how it's used. Because if you just hand me a QR code, at a random parade, and I don't know what it's for, I'm not going to may not research it too.
I can do some mock-ups.
Yeah.
And bring it.
Even if it's just like something on the back that says, visit North Kansas City.
Yeah, hopefully the
businesses.
the page could tell them, like if we make it, I don't know,
Yeah.
look enticing to scan, I guess. And then hopefully the webpage it takes them to can explain it. But I agree, it might be.
There's a few like QR code generators. So it'll just generate the code, the actual QR code, and then you can, obviously have something above and below, off to the side, whatever, just saying what it is, right? So, it's like scan here for North Kansas City business discounts, like District Biscuit or whoever, right? That we're able to get. So that can very clearly be labeled. And like even in my mind, even if it was like on the side of glasses or as a part of a necklace, right? So like have the little bead necklace and have like a little plastic card that you're able to just mass produce. Yep.
Right, but just need to make sure that we do that.
Oh, yeah, or a button, maybe NKC United, a button. People can wear on there.
Can we buy a button maker?
Have the code up there, and that way you can actually wear it around. We can give whoever.
Button makers
Buttons
are
are
annoying.
back.
Yeah, but
It'll probably be cheaper.
Pins,
to buy.
pins and buttons. Yeah, so Mike, I don't know if you have Richard's email or contact. You could email that to me and I will reach out.
Do you guys recall, Tony, have you gone to the coffee meetups? Are those a third Wednesday or is it like a Friday?
Pretty much every week.
Every week on a Friday morning or Wednesday?
They have Wednesdays, and then they have Fridays.
Okay,
There's a lot of opportunities
okay.
to
Cool.
interact with those who come to those meetings.
Wednesdays at 7:45. They go to different locations, but
Yeah.
they do the iWorks a lot, I feel like.
That, but they also go to different local businesses and hold them there.
They have a speaker sometimes, they do luncheons sometimes, things like that, yeah. The North Kansas City Business Council.
All right. Well, any announcements before we wrap up today?
I want to confirm what we're doing before the next meeting for Pride. So I'm going to have like a draft of the necklace and the sunglasses and the extra item. And then, Daniel, you're reaching out to Mr. Groves.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
And then so our next meeting is May 9th. And so we'll need to be ready to, I'll send the options ahead of time, reply if you want any changes, and I'll bring all those changes to the meeting because we'll need to okay it so I can order it in time for the parade.
Can you look at buttons too?
Buttons.
Yeah.
Should we just approve an up to amount for the budget since we have a quorum tonight and who knows what next month they'll bring?
That would be welcome.
Great. So I have to motion. How much did we spend last year on this part?
We had less money last year.
And we need to like at least triple
Right.
what we buy?
Yeah.
And Snake Saturday was just candy. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, those are hoodies. I would guess last year swag was about 1,000. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm very wrong.
Why did I
Mallory's
think
watching from home. I'm sure she'll be texting
three?
me any minute.
And I mean, the nice part is we already have the banners done, the design done. It's just literally the swag, nothing else, like those items. Why did I think it was 3? I could have made
1,000?
that up, yeah.
If I were to do a motion of like 3 times last year's amount, is that not specific enough?
Yeah, especially if last year's amount turns out to be 3,800, where we don't have.
Yeah, because if we did up to $6,000 and last year it's the 3,000 mark, then we would only be able to double what we need, and we ran out so fast. It was just a lot of waving at more than halfway through the parade.
But I think we'll be in a better position perhaps.
Okay.
So we'll be like further down the road. Maybe. I don't know our position at all. Like how soon Mallory signed
Yeah,
up.
I
know
think
that.
that'll be something we don't find out until probably June 10th or whatever. Oh, wait.
I think I know somebody. I think I actually know somebody on the Pride Committee. I'm
Pull
gonna
some strings.
have a little conversation. Okay.
Okay, I move to spend, oh,
May I, are there things coming up after the Pride Parade between then and September 30th that that you know of that money gets spent on every year, or?
historically, no.
Okay. I mean, that was just the thought of making sure that, as far as what you authorize.
Sometimes we'll do stuff for, we've done like hats, gloves, things like that for colder weather. But still, even if we did up to a $7,000 budget, we have not spent $3,000 on hats and gloves.
When do we do the money for the high school's festival? When? I don't remember. I don't have that timeline.
Pretty sure it was this year's budget.
Yeah.
What's this year's?
So have we already accounted that for our budget, though, I guess is the question. Out of our budget? When, has our festival already happened? So then we've already given them a check. Great, so it's accounted for.
Yes.
Cool.
There's nothing above that. Current. Mallory thinks it's under 2,000 that we spent last year for Pride swag.
Sixes.
I got a good brain.
A not to exceed.
Not to
Number?
exceed, let's go not to exceed 6,500 with the knowledge that we want to almost triple the purchasing. That, I didn't say it right, but that was a motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, we will vote on approving the $6,500 spending limit for the 2024 Pride Parade. All in favor, say, or should I do a roll? I'm asking probably the wrong person. Doesn't matter. Mike, should I do a roll vote on that one?
No, I don't believe.
Okay. All right. So all in favor to approve the motion, say aye.
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 Those not in favor, say nay.
Our doodle polls
It's approved. We'll put the budget at, or excuse me, the cap at 6,500.
Do you have everything you need on that
Yep.
item? That was considering,
65, triple, best Jennifer, 50.
yes, and QR code potential, which would also lead to a website.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I
don't
can
know
make
if we're
that, yeah, we can make that a page on our city website.
Oh,
that-
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to ask this, just devil's advocate. Are we being too aggressive right now? Like, is this realistic to try to have this by June? Or is this something that we just need to really try to coordinate for next year?
The QR code, you mean the discount for the businesses?
Yeah, just like, yeah, speaking to the businesses, getting the QR code, the website,
It,
all of that.
if it's, if you're trying to hit every business door to door, that might be tough. But I think a lot could be learned through through Daniel's contact with Rich Groves, I mean, that might,
Yeah, I'll email him
that might
tonight,
answer that
just
question
to get
better.
that off and make sure that we can have some sort of a resolution by the end of this month would be my goal.
Yeah, I would think, I mean, he has everybody's contact, most every business's contact in the city. And I think most every business already has some sort of marketing snippet that's like what they do or what they can offer, especially the restaurants, which I imagine we'd mostly focus on. I don't know that like Davis Paint is going to be like, come in and get a bucket of paint, maybe. But you know, the restaurants at minimum, just kind of say, hey, let's focus it around restaurants, and he might have some ideas. Oh, I know so-and-so did a thing, or Summit Heating and Cooling might go, hey, we'll do a free something to come to your home and give you the things, right? So they probably already have a blurb that then we can, attach, I guess. And then I'm sure you guys will be able to look into like the legalities around that, sort of thing. Just kind of saying, this is a piece, we're trying to draw people to North Kansas City, and just take it from there. And if it can't happen, it can't. But I think it doesn't hurt to try this time around. And we still want all that swag anyway. So
Might be something that it's also, how do I put it? It's kind of a co-sponsored card or whatever that is handed out from the business council, business council and the EIC. That hey, I mean, when you talk about legalities around it,
yeah,
but yeah. But I think, a lot's going to be told by what he can offer.
Yeah, I agree.
very good.
Okay, good deal. I just wanted to be.
It's aggressive,
Realistic.
I agree. It's ambitious.
It's, you know what? Hey, we're already winners. That's right.
We already got it started.
That's right. Look at us.
It'll be a business advertised. We'll do that one.
That works.
All right. Does anyone move to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All right, thank you, Marcia. We will adjourn at about 8 p.m., right on the button. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. People have their mics on. It like dilutes your strength of the mic, so we had to like.
So right now,